Hey folks, this is Matt once again with a review for a film that I've been wanting to review for a while because I do think it's a film that's pretty underrated, and that's Eagle Eye. Now I say underrated, I mean at least the film it has a 2-disc special edition, so it's got some features, and it made $100 million in the U.S. But the only reason I say underrated is that there's a lot of people who hate on this film, and I don't really understand why. Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf, Michelle Monaghan, Billy Bob Thornton, directed by DJ Caruso, which every time I say that name, I always think it's the guy from CSI Miami. Of course, that's David Caruso. But DJ Caruso, of course, is the guy who directed the films Disturbia, another good one with Shia LaBeouf. I think he went on to do, what's that film? I Am Number 4, which I saw once, and I remember not being that impressed with it. Sorry about that, folks. And sorry about that. Still getting over this cold, but I'm just taking it easy. Um, but Eagle Eye, basically, you have Shia LaBeouf. He's a guy, just a normal guy working at this copy place, Copy Cabana or something like that. Just making copies and all that. And recently, he had a twin brother who passed away. His father's actually played by William Sadler. I'm like, oh yeah, the bad guy in Die Hard 2. And one day he enters his apartment, and for some reason, all this crazy shit, weapons and guns, well, of course, weapons and stuff to make explosives and all this stuff are in there. And he's like, what the hell? What's going on? He gets this phone call from this voice, with the voice is actually Julianne Moore, saying that you have 30 seconds to leave. The FBI is going to be there. They're coming for you. And he doesn't know who it is. He doesn't know what's going on. He gets arrested. Billy Bob Thornton is a guy in charge saying that, you got all this shit here. You're in a world of trouble. They think that he's a terrorist. And he's like, wait a minute, I don't know what's going on. One thing leads to another, and he gets a phone call again, and this voice is telling him to get down on the ground. And that's where this damn big old crane crashes right into the building. And everywhere he turns, cell phones from random strangers or signs on billboards are talking to him. At the same time, you have this woman, Michelle Monaghan, who has a son, sends him off. And actually, her ex is played by the same guy from, God, what the hell was his name? He was in, uh, he was in the Theme Pre-Make, and he was in Dumb and Dumberer and Cellular. I know the face, but I don't remember the name. Whatever. But anyway, she sends her boy off, who is going to play an instrument in the DC. Now I gotta look up the name. Damn it. And she gets a phone call saying, don't go back to the restaurant you're at. If you don't do what we say, we're gonna hurt your boy. So she files his voice on the cell phone. Again, she doesn't know what's going on either. I gotta find who the hell this is. That name, who plays the girl's ex. He's not in the film that much, but he always hated when I think of a name and I can't. Eric Christian Olsen. Yeah, that's the guy. Anyway, long story short, ultimately Shia LaBeouf and this girl meet each other, and they're both being told what to do by this voice. And as they're being chased, it seems like this voice and whoever is controlling everything. They're making all the lights green. tells them to go through a junkyard and they're controlling the cranes and picking stuff up and going here, going there. And it's one of those things that, they don't know what the hell's going on. And you as a viewer are supposed to also wonder, okay, is this some organization? Um, what the hell's really truly going on? And what I found really interesting about the flick, which is why a lot of people badmouthed it, spoiler alert, folks. If you don't want spoiled, when I put this can down, that'll be the end of the spoilers. What you find out is that it's this is a sci-fi movie. This is a sci-fi flick, which I liked. I thought it was more interesting. It was an artificial intelligence that the military had made. And, I'm not going to give away all the details, but you find out why she's controlling these two, telling them what to do this, to do that. And I found a really thrilling, entertaining picture. But a lot of people had a problem with that. A lot of people basically said that the film was unrealistic, that there's no way this is realistic at all. Which I'm like, again, this is spoiler alerts, but I'm just going to give it away anyway. I don't really understand because, the films that they even have a featurette where the director actually talks with John Badham and how this film is a big reference to war games. Also, another film, Colossus, the Forbin Project. For those who don't know, Colossus was this film from 1970 about this guy who designed this computer that runs all of America's nuclear defenses. But then the computer sort of works with the computer in Russia, and they realize that the humans are basically doing a shitty job, and they're going to take over. And it's a sci-fi film, and yet you're talking about, well, it's not realistic. The plot doesn't make sense. I'm like, when we get an artificial intelligence computer and find out what it can and can't do, then I'll believe on, well, the artificial computer can't do that. How can it do this? I just don't understand the argument. It's really silly to me that critics really tore this one apart saying, well, the plot doesn't make much sense and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, if I look at the critical consensus on Rotten Tomatoes, which is just like a 20-some%, a preposterously plotted thriller that borrows heavily from other superior films. Well, there's a lot of films that borrow from a lot of films. The Thing, Fright Night remake. A lot of fucking critics love that movie. It's a damn remake. But people love that. A lot of people love that film. The word preposterous is too moderate to describe Eagle Eye. There's not a single plausible moment. What are you talking about? It's about a fucking artificial intelligence computer. You know, when we get an AI computer and realize what it can and can't do, then I'll fucking, deal with its realistic aspects. I found it an entertaining picture. I thought the actors did a great job. Um, these two were really solid together. Michelle Monaghan, I'm not sure what else she's been, but she was very capable. She was very direct. She wasn't a pansy. She was a strong woman. Shia LaBeouf I liked as an actor. He gets sort of a bad rep, but I really enjoyed him in these films. I like the Transformer films, but I'll be honest, this is my favorite film with Shia LaBeouf in it. I just really got into the plot of the film. Um, I like that it was a thriller with a sci-fi aspect. I just got a kick out of that AI computer aspect. Just it was just another organization that 50 guys were in, and they just like, okay, this made it different. You don't see a lot of movies like this, you know. You don't see a lot of movies like that, which is what I enjoyed about it. I thought the action scenes and really worked. Whether it be the car chase sequence, which again, they're going through a junkyard and it's grabbing police cars and grabbing them and picking them up and going over here because the train's being controlled. Or it starts off with fucking airplane from the military that tries to kill Shia LaBeouf and Billy Bob Thornton. And speaking of acting, on the other side, the officials, you got Michael Chiklis from The Shield and Fantastic Four. You got Rosario Dawson, who I'm a fan of, Rosario Dawson. She was really good in Death Proof and Clerks 2. She's an official here. And Billy Bob Thornton does a great job too. It's well shot. They had the money. This definitely had a budget to it. Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci, who wrote I think they helped write Cowboys and Aliens and Star Trek, the 2009 movie, and Transformers. They produced this film. I know Steven Spielberg was an executive producer of this. But I guess what I enjoyed about this movie, not only because I like the actors, it was a thriller aspect. It was always on the go. Like once it got going, these two were always on the run. I bought into what was going on. If you have an AI computer that the government made, of course it can hack into cell phones and or what about the scene where I thought it was really cool, where they're in the middle of the desert, there's power lines, and this guy's walking, and they get a call, stop him or he's dead, and they're trying to stop him. He says fuck it, and the power lines get rejiggered and fall off and barbecue the guy. Oh, how could the computer do that? I don't know. I don't know too many AI computers. Do you? Do you know that many AI computers? Maybe they didn't heat the fucking shit up so until the power cable, maybe they could put enough energy and enough primer and enough heat to melt the shit and let it fall and electrocute the guy. How the fuck would I know? Again, I haven't met too many HAL 9000s. Not even HAL 1000s. I mean, again, I thought it was fast paced. I thought it was entertaining. I thought the acting was real good. Uh, they didn't go too much with these two having a romantic relationship. Oh, they fell in love and they're kissing and shit like that. That was fine because there's no time for love, Dr. Jones, that kind of thing. I like the chase sequence bit in the airport when they're going through, those things that your luggage gets taken by little escalator type things. They take your luggage, go here. I like the sort of foot chase within that. Made a little different area for a foot chase. And again, I think the sci-fi aspect really helped. You know, it just that's my kind of movie. It made it more interesting to me that you take a thriller and make a sci-fi aspect to it. And when you watch the trailer to the film, you don't know that's what it's supposed to be. So I don't know if that was the case where, and that was cool fighting that out the first time. Oh wow, it's an AI computer. To me, it brought the little kid out of me. Where those were the kind of films I watched growing up. Where it's the evil computer, it's this and that, and um, not just the typical 5, 6 douches around a table saying we must do this and do that. I don't give a fuck. Just shoot him in the face. Sorry, this is how I'm like when I'm gotten off the flu. Just fucking irritated. And I don't give a fuck in this attitude. But anyway, either way, I don't know what more I can say about it. Other than I was really entertained by the film. I think the film critically got a bad rep. Just a 6.6 on IMDb. I think it could be higher. I'll be honest. I don't really find anything wrong with it. I mean, preposterous my ass. Again, if you know that many AI computers, maybe you know something I don't. But I like that. I like the aspect that the enemy was everywhere and, you know, could basically tell him where to go through here, through this sign here, or this cell phone, or this TV, or something like that. And that was interesting. Made the bad guy that much more dangerous. But anyway, that's just my opinion on Eagle Eye. Very entertaining film. So either way, thanks for watching and take care. Later.